People who have bought a Mustang Mach-E have been able to benefit from a $7,500 federal tax credit this year. That's about to change. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. I should let you know, I quite like the Ford Mustang Mach-E. I think it's a good car for the money. Ford did a pretty good job. I don't think they made the right decision with what they did in China with the Mach-E. If you've been watching my videos, you'd see what happened there. But the rest of the world, yeah, they did a good job. However, they have had a bit of an advantage over their competition in the United States. Well, pretty significant advantage, $7,500, right? Tesla and General Motors don't have any tax credit left whatsoever. So if you buy one of their vehicles, you don't get any of that. Ford, though, you get a $7,500 discount, essentially. However, Ford are running out of federal tax credits. The 200,000 limit will be hit this year, probably this quarter, triggering a phase out of the incentive. And therefore, if you're going to buy a Ford EV, I suggest you do it as soon as you possibly can. Ford is approaching 200,000 plug-in electric cars sold in the US cumulatively since 2012, which is important from the perspective of the federal tax credit. The incentive of up to $7,500 is available for the first 200,000 vehicles sold, after which a phase-out procedure is started. Tesla and General Motors EVs are not eligible for this incentive since 2020. This year, Toyota triggered the phase-out as the third manufacturer. Ford is expected to be fourth, just slightly behind Toyota. It shows you that Ford haven't really sold that many EVs, have they? The fact that they're that far behind their vehicle, in fact, the EV deliveries compared to GM are pretty small in terms of cumulative sales and minuscule in comparison to Tesla. How many Ford plug-ins were sold? According to Inside EVs, and data released by the IRS, as of the end of 2021, the company has sold nearly 160,000 plugins, including almost 33,000 in 2021. As we know from the recent Q2 sales report, Ford sold close to 23,000 all-electric vehicles during the first 6 months of the year, and an undisclosed number of plug-in hybrids, Ford and Lincoln. Now, I'm just going to have a look here at my data here, my sales data for the month of June for electric vehicle sales worldwide. And let's have a look at China compared to Ford. Well, in fact, let's just have a look at some really small companies that you've probably never heard of compared to Ford. Well, first of all, I'm sure you all know of who BYD are. BYD delivered about 70,000 purely electric cars in the month of June. Ford sold 23,000 in the first 6 months of the year. 23,000. BYD, 75,000 in a single month. Come on, Ford. Okay, well, let's just have a look at some other companies and see how they shape up. Well, SAIC. Apparently they delivered 91,000 in June. Tesla, in China alone, Tesla delivered 78,000, right? That's nearly 4 times more than Ford did for the entire first half of the year, and that was from one single factory. Volkswagen, in May of this year, 27,000. Half of those were in China, the rest were in Germany. What about Chery? You probably haven't heard of Chery before, right? They delivered 21,743 EVs in the month of May alone. That's a single month. That's the same number as Ford did for the first 6 months of the year. And I bet you've never heard of Chery before. Well, at least most of you anyway. What about GAC? Most people don't know who GAC is either. They delivered 22,000 in May, same number as Ford for the first 6 months of the year. Now I could go on and on and on and on. These numbers are pretty similar all the way across the board. XPeng, startup, they delivered 16,000 in the month of June. So as you can see, Ford's got a long way to go to, reach these very lofty goals, these lofty aspirations and ambitions that Jim Farley has for the company. And they're wonderful ambitions. I really like them. But I think they're ambitions, pipe dreams, and fantasy, not reality. Now, realistically, can they ramp up production of electric cars drastically over now? Absolutely. Can they ramp it up thousands and thousands of % in order to catch Tesla? No, that's just purely magical, fairy, wizard in the sky type stuff, right? Anyhow, as of the end of June, Ford is at about 182,567 units plus a small and unknown number of plug-in hybrids sold in the first half of this year. So let's assume they're at about 185,000 in total. That means that they're very, very close to 200,000. They only need 15,000 more deliveries to hit 200,000. That's probably going to happen within a few months. That's about 1/4 of deliveries. For example, in Q2, there was 23,000. So more than likely, by the end of this quarter, Ford will have hit that number and they'll no longer qualify for their full tax credit of $7,500. So I'm saying, if you're going to buy a Ford, go there now. Get them to commit to delivering you the car within this quarter. In a business as usual scenario, Ford is expected to reach the cumulative number of 200,000 units this quarter. This should be triggering the phase out, and at some point in 2023, potentially January the 1st or April the 1st, Ford plug-in vehicles will not be eligible for the full federal tax credit at all. But you will get 50% of that amount, so $3,750. By the end of 2023, the incentive for Ford will be completely gone, at least if no one changes the law by then. Now, the law should have been changed years ago. It's a joke. It punishes early adopters. I mean, GM and Tesla, did the right thing, adopted EVs early, and now they're getting punished for it. It's ridiculous. So hopefully the law will be changed by then, but I'm not holding out hope because it's taking a long time for things to happen in the White House. The federal tax credit amount is up to $7,500 per car. The full amount is for plug-ins with a total battery capacity of at least 16 kilowatt hours. The minimum requirement is at least a 4 kilowatt hour battery and capability to recharge from an external source of electricity. After officially reaching 200,000 units, the full amount is available through the end of the particular quarter during which the limit was reached, and for the following quarter, so for 3 to 6 months, depending on the date of reaching the limit. Then the amount will be decreased to 50% for another 2 quarters, up to $3,750, and to 25% for the final 2 quarters, up to $1,875. So with the upcoming phase out of this $7,500 incentive, there might be an additional reason to rush to buy a Ford. So I'm telling you, or a Toyota in the next few months, which would come on top of the already high demand. Now, as we already know, Ford had 200,000 pre-orders for the F-150 pickup truck back in December of last year when they stopped taking orders. Reason being, that's enough production for the next 47,000 years. No, I think maybe 4 years. I'm going to guess they're going to ramp up production, so it might not take 4, it might take 3. However, right, don't even bother putting in an order for that unless you're willing to wait years. That's not going to happen within a short period of time. That said, don't get me wrong, the $40,000 pickup truck, put in an order now. If they'll let you pay for it now, I would be doing it because that thing's an absolute bargain. $40,000 for the base model electric F-150 could be the bargain of the century. Amazing deal. Anyhow, with the upcoming phase out, I recommend if you can go and get an EV from Ford and Toyota and take it home within the next quarter, do so. So who's next going to trigger this phase out of federal tax credits in the US? Well, Japanese, can I repeat that again? Japanese automaker Nissan. So the US government is funding the success of Japan and their automotive industry. Well, someone needs to. So hey, that's probably the nice Jesus-like thing to do, right? Because obviously these automotive companies in Japan are in dire straits. So hey, good on you, US government. Very, 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 very kind of you to support the Japanese automotive industry, Nissan in particular. Nissan will be next. They've hit 173,000 Leaf deliveries as of the end of June, but their sales are pretty low and they probably won't hit 200,000 this year. Maybe the first half of 2023 at the earliest, unless they start bringing in some proper EVs, like new ones, nice new cars, like the Nissan Ariya, which is a cool electric car. That's a car I think I could see people buying if they bring in serious numbers of them. And that is probably not very likely. Now here's a few interesting comments for you to think about. Anomalakara said, I'm trying to remember Ford EVs that would sell in enough volume to burn through those 200,000 credits. They did have plug-in and EV Fusions. Did those sell well? There were some EV Focuses as well. Not that I recall seeing any. Recently they've had some plug-in Escape hybrids, but not for very long. And of course the F-150s that recently started selling. Was that enough amount to 200,000? I guess I wasn't expecting that. Well, Richard Gozinia responded with an interesting comment. He said, Ford will sell 200,000 F-150 Lightnings this year alone and around 60,000 Mach-E's. The other cars that qualify big are the Escape plug-in hybrid and the Lincoln Corsair plug-in hybrid and the Aviator and the E-Transit. Now, a Model Defiant responded with a little bit of logic for these guys to think about. I love seeing logic. They may have 200,000 Lightnings on their order books. They could have 1 million. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. There's no way in hell they can produce or deliver that many this year. They only delivered a few thousand in the first half of the year. They won't deliver more than 18 times production over the next 6 months unless they discovered a new form of physics. With that said, thank you for watching and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.